This video is brought to you by DistroKid. Sign up today using the link in the description and get 7% off your first year's subscription. Hey everyone, in this video we're going to be going behind the scenes to check out the production of Lexene's new song, Naked Thoughts.
How can I fight what's on the inside? My heart is screaming, unzip your skin and start tearing through my naked thoughts. I'm scared of what you'll see.
So this song started as an acoustic piece. Lexene brought it to me and she had acoustic guitar and vocals. And we tried a couple different acoustic guitar techniques and I landed on Travis picking, which is a very old style, country folk style of picking. Pinch, inside, outside, inside, pinch, inside, outside, inside. And you basically do that for the whole song. If you want to hear this on a really famous song, you can check out Dust in the Wind by Kansas. So the song starts with finger-picking guitar, and it transitions to a more rhythmic strumming part. And we also did a layer of 12-string, where I strum a chord, and Alexa has her fingers at the 12th fret to play a harmonic. And we layered that in a couple times on the C major 7 chord. How many people does it take to play a guitar? Usually one. I guess if you ask Walk Off the Earth, it takes an entire band. In our case, 1 or 2. We tried to keep it pretty simple because, you know, live Alexa is going to be playing the acoustic guitar part for this. So we didn't want to make it super intense or anything that she wouldn't be able to play on her own. But I did want to add a little bit of melodic flourish to the Travis picking to keep it interesting for the record. You've heard of DistroKid, now try DistroVid. DistroVid is the easiest way for musicians to upload their music videos to Apple Music, Vevo, Amazon Music, Tidal, and keep 100% of their earnings. Get unlimited music video uploads for only $99 per year and additional artist slots for only $49. Upload 4K ultra high definition video, custom thumbnails, and keep 100% of your earnings from video sales and streaming. Vevo also lets people watch your music videos on different platforms like Roku and smart TV hubs like Samsung and LG, which means getting the official Vevo watermark on YouTube. You can easily request a custom release date for your video, and DistroKid delivers it to stores lightning fast, although it does take a couple days and sometimes up to a week for those platforms to actually release your video. The process is super simple, and with just a few clicks, your video is uploaded onto music video platforms. This is another tool that's available only to DistroKid artists, so if you haven't already, get started today using the link in the description. Once you've set up your DistroKid account, then you can sign up for DistroVid. So I want to give a big thank you to DistroKid for sponsoring this video and supporting this recording project. It means so much to us all. Thank you very much. We really, really appreciate it. And now, back to the video. So the bass was actually recorded right here at Backburner Studios, right where I'm sitting, right under the clouds that I made in one of my previous tutorial videos. I'll link that above. So we used 2 different microphones for the upright bass. We used a Mojave M200 tube condenser microphone for the bottom, kind of around the bridge and the F-hole. This provided most of the body and the oomph of the bass sound. But I also used an RE15 Electro Voice, kind of a vintage microphone for the, I guess you would call it the finger noise and the fretboard, so that's pointing down into the fretboard. And I just feel like for acoustic instruments, you really need finger noise, and especially for bass, you can have the low end, but without that nuance and that finger noise, and believe it or not, the strings like slapping against the fretboard, so much of that adds to the nuance and the harmonic nature of the sound, but also the authenticity of the performance. So the drums were recorded. We used a session musician from Toronto, one of our friends, Zac Gabriel. It was a lot of fun to have him come out and stay with us for a couple weeks and record drums on 3 of the tracks from this EP. We kind of put him through the ringer because a lot of the time he's not really playing a beat. It's either just kick drum or just cymbal stuff or some percussion, and then he comes in with a fill, this fill. Yeah, nice. And then towards the end, he's actually playing, you know, like a full-out drum beat. So it's a really nice arc or journey to get through the song. I really feel like it develops, and it's through composed as opposed to like a pop song verse, chorus, bridge, chorus structure. We definitely cut up the drums so that you were only hearing a couple of the microphones for each different section. When it starts with just hi-hat, you're just hearing hi-hat and kick drum. We used an advanced audio CM49 for the kick, and then we tented it. So it was a very deep and boomy sound. For the snare drum, we had our Samson CO2 microphones from our demo. We actually used them for the entire album for the snare drum, top and bottom. For the hi-hat, we used an Advanced Audio 1084, which is modeled after the KM84 from Neumann. We didn't end up having a lot of inputs, and we wanted to go minimalistic for our drum setup. That ended up having only 2 tom mics despite having 3 toms. And the way we got away with this is we used a CM67 from Advanced Audio, and we placed it in between the floor toms. Now, normally, a cardioid is going to pick up what's in front of it, but this microphone actually has 9 different polar patterns. So what we did is we clicked it over one closer to Omni, so it opens up its polar pattern a little bit more to accept both of the toms. So you can hear that again in this fill. So I don't know what you would call this, some sort of wide cardioid, but it really worked in this setting. We came into the project with a pretty strong vision. I had been using Logic Drummer to work out drum loops and fills and where I wanted just kick drum and where I wanted a full beat. And, bringing in a real drummer and asking them to basically double what you already had in the demo can be a little bit of a challenge, but luckily Zac was really good and really open-minded and worked with us to basically play exactly what we wanted. Once we got him on the right track, he started to put in some ideas of his own, and they really started to contribute to the project. And I think it was a really good mix of the structure that we had going in, but also leaving room for improvisation so that new ideas could still happen and grow. So the oohs that Alexa does are probably my favorite part of the song. She told me that she wanted something huge, something really big and ethereal, and for that we used a Blumlein. We recorded on the main floor at Auratone Productions in Kelowna, BC, and this room is very open with high ceilings. It has an open concept design, and it was really great for this application. So what we did is we took a Blumlein pair of Advanced Audio 414s and we put them in the center of the room, and then I had Alexa sing her various parts from different parts of the room. So this was inspired by Stay With Me by Sam Smith, where he has like the choir and it's just him at all parts of the room. So, we'd have her right next to the microphone, and then on the other side of the room, and then in the hall, and then, in the other room, or staring at the stone wall, or in the kitchen, wherever. And she would do those with all of her harmonies and everything, and we would layer that together with like a clean dry vocal, and you just get this chorus, right? Because it's the same stereo image, but it sounds like, there's people all over this space all singing together. So we took all those tracks and we gave them to Ian Small, the vocal producer for this song. And we got to catch up with him and ask him a little bit about his process and what he did to these tracks. What would you say is the vibe for this tune?
Oh, that's a good question. It's very powerful, I think. I really like it. I wanted the bits that were very powerful to have a lot of layers, a lot of vocal groups. So I had the tracks that were sent to me by you guys. I kind of made some other ones using those. So I tuned the vocals to kind of make some fake harmonies. And then using that, when the power of the tune kind of ramped up and the vibe got a little bit more intense and, the drama increased, there were more Lexenes, I guess. So I kind of wanted to toy with the energy that the tune was kind of following, like the energy curve. I wanted there to be, when the tune was quiet and more reserved, I wanted there to just be one of her. And when it got epic and big, I wanted there to be as many of her as I could fit into the tune without my computer stopping.
What is the first thing you listen for when you get a vocal?
If they're like overthinking it, I guess, like if they're actually, giving their best performance, if it's, they can feel like it's their best performance maybe, or the best thing that they can do. But I think our role as producers is to kind of step back and be like, did you overthink this? Is it as good as you can go? And then from there, if it is, and I, didn't need more, I guess from there, I listened for, is it, I kind of listen to it and try to hear where the stuff that I can do can come in, right? So like, I'll listen, and if it, oh, okay, here it is bigger, audibly it's bigger, I want to put more stuff here, that's where I can kind of do the chopping and pasting and modulating and tuning and making more parts out of the parts that I get sent. It's something I really enjoy doing because it's a bit creative and compositional in nature, and I think it can really add to a tune.
What's your favorite thing to do when you process vocals?
I really like, playing with pitch, chopping up and modulating the vocals. Adding these fake harmonies is really fun. But beyond that, it's so funny, man. What are you doing, man? Such a cat. Oh, what a guy. Sorry, go ahead.
What would you say is the role of a producer?
The thing that I try to do the most is like just support. Like, all artists will have blind spots when they're producing their own stuff. So when they're recording vocals or writing, they'll overthink things and they'll second guess themselves, especially second guessing themselves. And especially, I see a lot of like imposter syndrome with artists that I work with. They get kind of caught up in themselves, and they can be hard on themselves. So I think for me, I like to, first of all, just be there and support them and tell them that they're doing well, because I always think they are doing well. Working with these people is just amazing. Beyond that, I think it's important to trust them and their vision, and then to take that vision and do the best you can with it. Because I think for the most part, you're there for a reason, right? Like, they want you there for your opinions, and they want you there for the skill set that you have. For me, I think the most important role is to just enjoy the honor of being part of the group, and then contribute what you can, and contribute what you can.
Ian's been really great. He's been a great part of Backburner Studios, and I really love the beats that he does and his vocal production work. One of my favorite things that he does is how he plays with the formant, and he'll make the really low kind of voice, like down the octave, and it's just like, "Grr."
Ian has this insane ability to manipulate vocals like nobody else that I know. I like to think of myself as being pretty well versed in terms of vocal production and production techniques with vocals. I'm not ashamed to say that I'm very good at comping and tuning vocals, and I really, really get a lot of joy out of doing that and getting my hands on them. But Ian does something completely different. He'll chop up vocals. He'll duplicate parts, he'll like offset them by a little bit, he'll mess with formants, and there's a few parts in the song where if you listen really closely, you'll hear my voice and it's been down tuned an octave or 2 octaves, so it's this like raw sound, and it just kind of creates this really thick like oomph to some of the more eerie parts of the song, which is really interesting because without that, I feel like they wouldn't have nearly as much depth. That was one of the main reasons I chose Ian, was I'd heard some of his other production techniques before when we were doing another pop song together. And I was like, holy crap, like, how does he do it? And he does it extremely fast. This man's workflow is insane.
And I know that using Ableton, some of the stuff that I've seen him do is so baked into the workflow that for Logic or Pro Tools, it's so different, or you'd have to use plugins or something like that, it's completely different. So it's great to have him on the team for a different perspective.
It was an honest pleasure getting to work with Ian on this.
So originally we built a demo for this. I played some different parts, and we needed the vocal. And I asked Alexa to sing through the song, and she wasn't particularly inspired that day. And I insisted and said, look, we got to continue with the project. I just need you to sing it once. Please, will you sing it? And she kind of, all right, I'll do it. And she sang it, and it was good. We used it for the demo, and we showed that to everybody for the final project. And when we went to go and record the real thing, we did take after take after take, and we comped it together, and there was something missing.
Naked Thoughts has had only 2 iterations. It had a demo, and then we had the recorded version that you hear. And interestingly enough, a lot of aspects of the demo verbatim were copied over into the final product. So my vocal is a 1-take scratch, and that's the final vocal that you hear, the lead melody. All of the oohs and harmony parts and secondary parts, those were recorded later. I think the vulnerability of just sitting down and recording the demo without the knowledge that it was kind of like the real thing, like this is the real version, it sort of gave me, I think, this opportunity to sort of express the message of the lyrics better, because I wasn't so focused on, oh, I have to sing this right because we're recording this. It was just, oh, I'm getting this down for later. So I think a lot of those kind of raw emotions just spoke to us. And so all of these takes that we did trying to recapture that, we just sort of, you know, threw our hands up in the air eventually and we're like, let's just use the scratch vocal. It was recorded well enough. It was recorded right here at Backburner Studios.
And it didn't matter what mic we used. We even changed from a tube mic back to the original 414, and we just couldn't hit that vibe that we got in the original scratch vocal. I don't know what to tell you, but something about that spur of the moment recording really just did it for us. So
it kind of goes to show that it's really important to kind of keep your different iterations of projects, because you never know where the magic might be. And a one-take scratch vocal apparently was the magic.
Don't throw anything out. Keep everything. Because you never know. You never know. This album has a lot of different vibes. It goes in a lot of different directions because it explores love in various different forms, right? And I think for this one, it's definitely very haunting. It's very introspective, and it looks inwards at the relationship of you versus yourself. And I think that's a really powerful thing. So we really wanted this to be haunting and very in your head. So, you know, there's a couple whispers and there's all these little layers and there's things that it really does develop and change, and ideas come back from previous sections. And I think it's probably the tune that I'm most proud of on this record. So go check it out in the link in the description. Naked Thoughts by Lexene. It's out February 10th, so it's going to be out by the time you watch this, so you should go check it out. And thank you for watching. We're going to do another video about this whole album process and kind of our inspiration for the album and our thought process behind why we chose to do this album. So check the link down in the description for Naked Thoughts by Lexene. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Crawling upwards, my scarlet letter, a dark reminder of what I've lost and all I've gained. How can I fight what's on the inside? My heart is screaming.